Welcome back, everybody. Something a little bit different here today, and I've been working on, or planning to work on, Jack's Savia PCC, which is the MWS that takes high caliber mags, and he doesn't know that I've been basically. He's mentioned that he wants this. He would like at some point this thing being Cerakoted as well. So I've been busy today, colouring this thing, and it's come out very nice. So at the point of me filming this, he has no idea that I've done the Cerakote work, and the only kind of inclination I've got to go off of is basically the colour that he said that he'd want it, which was OD green, and then we've gone for it completely off the reservation colour as an accent colour. So we've gone copper as well, which this is a new colour for me, but I think it's turned out really well, and these are going to be some accent colours. So we've got the barrel, we've got the bolt, very strange colour indeed, and I did all these magazines as well, which these look absolutely fantastic. So hopefully this colour is something that he's happy that he basically he's been saying that he wants to at some point get the gun back to me and get Cerakote, and I'm just thinking, why don't we just cut out the unnecessary time wasted going to and from, and I'll just get this thing Cerakote and building it. So if this video is out and you're watching it right now, that means that on the previous video we hit the target. I think, what did I say? It was like 100 likes. I said if this video gets 100 likes, I'll release the build video for this thing, and that's what we're going to do. So it's going to be a long video again. So apologies to those that don't want long content like that. I did put all these bits to one side. So I'm going to put this together, and once this is back together, there's still some upgrade parts that I'll need to do to this thing, but we're going to get this fitted up just so you and everyone else can see what this thing looks like. So I didn't do the barrel protector because I've got a the thread protector, sorry, because I've got a tracer unit which I said it was spare and he could have, so he's going to be having that. So we're going to put this thing together, and hopefully it looks good. So we've got all the bolt parts here, and we'll put this thing together. So I didn't actually know that the Savia comes with a steel bolt, so you'll see the bolt is steel on these Savias, which could be why they've got a slightly slower cycle rate. And these things are made for a price, let's put it that way. They are cheap, but they are made cheaply. For example, just to put the roller in place, it's literally just a split pin, and this split pin goes in like so for the roller, and there's nothing sort of holding that split pin from coming out this way. It's kind of just a press fit. But enough of me waffling. Let's get this thing put together, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So with these long videos, I mean, I did one on the SSP5, which I did for Stephen. This isn't going to be like a regular thing, me Cerakoting people's guns for them in this way, but hopefully you guys like it. If you don't, you have to let me know down below. And we're going to need a bit of lube on this. So it's a very unique colour indeed. It kind of reminds me of like a Master Chief type of vibe from Halo, with the OD green and then the accent colour. Now I do need to clean this out because it's got a bit of dust from the process. So let's get something in there and clean that bolt out. It's just the slightest amount of dust that's remnant from the process. These do get cleaned out an awful lot, but you know, sometimes the dust from blasting can be a bit persistent. It's just a tiny layer of dust on the inside. So we'll get this wiped out here. Just check it, make sure. I don't tend to blast all the way into the bolts. I'll do like the front faces. I don't want to, you know, whack the sandblaster down here and create any issues in terms of the sealing qualities on this thing. So let's try this again. Just put a bit of lube on this seal, and then we'll just put a little bit around the inside edge. Now these are cast bolts. I think what they do is they obviously cast them in steel and then do some machining processes on the top. You'll see it's very flat there, but the rest of the surface is pretty rough. Imagine they do that to keep the cost down, but steel bolt nonetheless. Just whack that in the top. We'll put this part in the top as well. And put these screws on, which I think are a 2mm. 2mm, there we are. I'll just check these for any remnants of dust as well. I think they're pretty clean, to be honest. Let's put these 2 screws in the top of the bolt. 1 and 2, and then we can put the spring in, which many of you didn't know. There's a lot of people that didn't know this method. I thought it was pretty self-explanatory, but put that part in first and then put your spring in. Makes it a hell of a lot easier. And that's what the hole there at the top's for, really. There's the bolt together. And where are we going to start with this thing? I do have a barrel here, so I am going to be upgrading this, but for the sake of this video, we'll put the standard parts back in just so we can get the thing built up. And the video recorded, of course. So, the 2 hop housings, little nubbin, the proprietary hop arm, put the other enclosure on there, and the O-ring. Place that O-ring around the hop unit, like that. What do we need to do? Got the pins to do, mag release, all this stuff for the lower receiver, the Z plate, which we will be replacing, but I'll put it on there for now. Got that spring, which is sort of just jammed up in there. I need the buffer, or the bushing, or whatever you want to call it, the barrel spacer. And we can slide the hop unit in with the barrel. Like I say, we will be putting a nice barrel in there. Put the spacer on, like that. We have the upper receiver here. And we need the barrel nut. What do I do with the barrel nuts? There it is. Just put this barrel nut on. Again, this is all coming off, so I'm not going to go ham tightening this down just yet. Barrels on. Need the rail. This is where we'll start to see this colour come together, I think. Put the screw in there. We'll see that lovely copper barrel coming through the rail. It's like subtle. I kind of like it. It's bright, but not in your face bright. here. So yeah, I kind of like that. Right, we'll get the hop adjuster in, which I have fixed. I don't know if I did a video on that for you. Did what one of the commenters said in the video, if that was you. Basically, he said drill it out, put a grub screw in it, so I have. There was just enough meat on there to do this. So I turned this part in the lathe, drilled it through, tapped it, and then put a screw in there, and I've like perma thread locked it in there. So we'll slide this in. Slide that underneath the hop arm there. Take a 2mm. We'll do it. There it is. And you can't like torque these. If you torque these hop units down too much, you lose the clickiness of the hop wheel. So this should click now. So hopefully you'll be able to hear it. If not, apologies. If you torque that screw down too much, you won't get the clickiness of it. Right, bolt. We need the bolt handle in. I'll, of course, I have to keep disclaimering because people say it in the comments, but I will come back and, you know, properly lube this up where it needs to be. And yeah, that's kind of cool, isn't it? It's a very good colour combination, I think. So there's the upper belt. So take the lower. We need to do the pins. So remembering where all this stuff goes, I think what we'll do first is we've got the mag release, which I think this goes that way, like that. And then we place this in there. And then we have this long screw / pin. Like that. So one hole is for the mag release and the other's for the bolt release. Just go till it's flush, like that. That works. These bars are plastic. Right, let's try and pay attention here. So we'll put the trigger pack in. Like that, because we'll have to do that before we put the bolt release in. That's in there. Got a little screw, which is a 2.5. Put this in the back here. I'm not going to torque it down too much just yet. We've got the pin for the trigger box. It goes in here. Tap this in carefully. Like that. Needs to go in a little bit more. Like so. And then the way that the bolt release works is you have this piece here. And you have this little bar that goes in. We also have to put in this screw on the receiver, which I think is a 3mm. 3mm. It's probably right in front of me, but I'm not seeing it. There it is. You'll get bits of grease on the Cerakote, it's fine, it'll wipe off. During assembly, we need to take the bolt release, which sits in there like that. That bar goes in that hole. We've got a little spring sits on the arm here. Doesn't encapsulate this one, so you have to be careful. I don't like dropping it like that. Where'd that just go? Might be easier actually if we pop the spring in first. Like that. Bar on the lever. Slide that in like that. And then we should have one of these screws. I think it's, is it this one? I believe it's this one. Because that one, I'm pretty sure is for the back, yeah. 1.5 for this, I believe. That works. Take this selector and put this in very carefully. If you hear Thomas, I apologise. He's just screaming in the background. Selector's in. Rear body pin. That can situate in place. And then we have the thinner pin and the thinner spring. Like that. Need to be careful here. So we also have, oh, I forgot to put that lever in. Shit. Basically that lever goes there and it's like the bolt stop. So I'll have to come back and put that in. Don't worry about that. I've got to take it all apart again anyway. So just imagine that I've put that in there. Because I have to pull the trigger pack back out because I'm going to put a Z plate in there. Slide this piece in. That screw goes in the back. That's basically the stopper. So we just rotate this in to that there. And then to encapsulate that pin, we have to put the stock on. Now I'll give him a PDW stock off of one of my other builds. Which this came off the SLR build. Have to be careful here. You'll notice it's got packing on the stock tube, and that's basically just to get it to stop wobbling because these 5KU stocks don't half wobble. So just keep going in with this. That sticker will get hidden anyway. Wind this in. To about there. Then we use the locking ring to lock that in place. Now the rear body pin is encapsulated, which is good. We need to put the front pin in. So we've got the longest spring of the two. We've got the front pin, which you want the domed part facing the pin itself. And this is where you can have a spot of bother if you end up catapulting this thing across the room. Today we're going to have no drama. Right, so that's on. We need a grip. So grip, I've got one here, which I sorted him out with a Kung Fu grip, which I've stupidly put the nut inside the grip here so that I didn't lose it. So that nut goes in there. I couldn't use the standard screw. It wouldn't pull this in enough. So I just got to screw out my parts kits, which is just like a button head hex screw. And we push the Kung Fu grip on. Sorted him out with a kung fu. And I think it's a 3mm. Yep. Put this screw in. I think with the original screw was too long, so you could tighten it all the way up and it would bottom out on the receiver and the grip wouldn't be tight at all. Now this one works just fine. There we go, that's in. So that's in, that's in. We need to put that lever in, which I'll come back to. I just wanted to get this recorded so I can reveal to him what I've done. Body pin in. We need the spring and the buffer, which with this stock it came with a short buffer like this, which you just have to be careful when putting this in, because it wants to jump out because it's got these flat edges on it. Why they didn't just make it round, I don't know. That goes in there like that. And we have the upper and lower together. He did give me a couple of parts to fit in terms of a little hand stop here. I think this is a 2.5 for these. So we'll slide this in. Like so. If I can get this in there. We just want to set the M-lock in place. Is that in the screw? I don't think it is. Alright, front one's on. Back one's on. So there's the little angled foregrip on there. We can collapse the stock down. The stock is spring loaded. Just with these 5KU ones, it doesn't always latch. But he was adamant he wanted this stock, so he's got it. And then we're going to assemble a mag. We'll do one because I won't bore you with the rest of them. So let me get some bits and pieces. Feed lips, bottom piece. We need that as well, and we need a main spring. I tell you what, it went half tedious stripping these mags down because they're pinned at the bottom, and then you'll see here every single one of the mags was siliconed together. So it was covered and covered in silicone. So it was a job and a half to get these off. And the way that I actually did it was I took the pins out and I couldn't, for the life of me, get it apart. I'm going to see if they seal up without the silicone. If not, I'm going to come back and use gasket sealer on the mags. I'll probably use gasket sealer anyway. But we'll see if it seals. So you got this silicone goop. So what I actually did is I took the two pins out the bottom and then the plate just would not shift, and there was no real way to get the plate off without damaging it and like forcing a tool in there, which there really wasn't much room to do. So what I did, which I thought was quite genius, was I took the two pins out, I wrapped the mag in a microfiber, so I put this under the base plate, wrapped it up, and then I just pressurised the mag and bang, they shot off the bottom. So it's going to be a bit of a nightmare, this. It does not want to play ball. Is it going to be able to go back on the way it came off? So we'll try it. If it doesn't seal, we can come back and sort it out with some gasket sealer, which is very good stuff. I'm still using the same tube that I bought like 10-15 years ago, and it still works. get it from like Halfords. I might show you that if I do a video on it. Right, now these base plates ready to go. Got all the bits and pieces in here from all the magazines, which there's a lot of parts. So output valve, input valve. These input valves on these mags don't seem to be very good. So we'll put the inlet valve in first. Secure this down like that. The other valve tool to do the output valve. Again, I'll come back and lube all these up because I'm just trying to demonstrate for the video. We're already at 26 minutes, so I'll try to be as quick as possible. Don't want people falling asleep now, do we? We can put the gas router and the feed lips on the top. We have a pin for the top, which goes in like that. And we're going to take a cloth, put the magazine on the cloth, and tap these in very carefully, because this is usually where people scratch up their Cerakote, because they get a pin that slips. I've done it, many people have done it. Right, this can actually go on because it doesn't hinder the other parts of the magazine being assembled, so we'll see if this can seal. It is a tight fit. So we're going to have to try and force these things on. Get it started. And then tap it in with a hammer. Push it against the bench. Try and get this thing seated. Which can be a massive pain. Now, if you run into an issue like this, which we saw on I think it was the CTM mags did this, or the Maru mags I was doing, I can't remember. They have a knurled section, and what you can do, which will help center them, is put one in like opposite ends, so that one goes in that way, that one goes in this way, and it will help square up the base plates, because they really don't want to go in. And then what you'll see there is it squares up the base plate, so you should, key word there, should be able to tap them in and square up. Without it being stuck on the other end, which seems to have worked. Like that. We can test to see if it's sealed. If it's not sealed, don't worry. I'll come in and I'll seal it properly. And we're fine, there's no leaking. So with that on there, we can take our follower for the mag, we can take our spring, like that. We've got our little stopper here, and what we need to do is push this along, situate it into place, and then they have a tiny little countersunk screw which basically holds everything in. Start it off with my fingers there, and this screws in like that. Don't need to go crazy, it's literally there just to hold that part of the magazine in. With that in, I think we slide this in from the back, yep, and then we can slide this part in like so. And there we have a completed magazine. Now, let's not leave things up to chance. Let's put all these parts back in this bag so they don't go rolling off the bench onto the floor. So I've done one mag, but I've got another 4 to do, which I can tell you now, Cerakoting these puppies was a task. Sandblasting them as well was a nightmare, because the coating that comes on them was just like a really rubbish quality paint. So what I should have done really is just blasted them before degreasing them, because the degreaser sent all the paint funny. Sometimes when that happens and the paint goes funny and all bubbly, instead of the blast media hitting the metal surface and taking the paint away, which is what it did where it didn't bubble, if the paint bubbles up and then you go to blast it, what can actually happen is the media can bounce rather than hitting a hard surface. So we'll slide this in here. Try not to scratch it up at all. And there we have it. We have Jack's almost completed Savia PCC. I think the colour works, you know. The colour's nice. It's very subtle. It's got a PDW stock on there. It needs the tracer. Let me grab the tracer actually. So we've got here a brand new Aztec blaster, which I had spare, which I said he could have. We do need a new O-ring for the barrel, because when I was taking this apart, the O-rings just split and just disintegrated. Which I've got an O-ring set somewhere, but I can't see it straight away, so I'll worry about that afterwards. The Aztec blaster is going to go on here. See, there's a little gap there which will fill with a spacer. And there it is, the Savia PCC, as you've seen in the past video. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Now, this colour combination is black, Magpul OD green, and of course copper from Cerakote. I think this has turned out really well, actually. I really like this colour combo, so I've got an inkling he's going to be happy with it. Now, he will have already seen it by now because I've released the other video the day previous, so yeah, it's complicated, but it should all work itself out. Thanks for following this build. I'm going to do the other mags off camera just because it's, you know, very repetitive content. So do the mags, and then we're going to have to come back with this build because it's going to have a new inner barrel, a new hot rubber, a tight nub if it goes in. It's going to have an end pass. It's going to have a better Z plate, because what I noticed when firing this was the bolt doesn't always catch, especially with the PDW stock, probably makes it a bit worse. But new Z plate, which will fix that, and then it should be ready to go back to Jack. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this build. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the links in the description below if you'd be so kind. And as always, from me and a messy bench, we'll see you in the next one.